Happy Friday, Facebook. It's me, Latoya Owens, owner and founder of Genesis Enterprises, coming to you live. I hope everyone's having a great Friday. Subject of today is financial infidelity. Um, as many of you know, when most people hear the word infidelity, we think, oh, love affair, things like that. But guess what? There's actually financial infidelity that can go on in a relationship as well. So you may be asking yourself, well, how is that? How can you cheat with money? Well, it can start off as simple as someone having a separate bank account. I know a lot of people may have heard of this term as, oh, she has her mad money, like in a separate savings or checking account from their spouse or boyfriend, fiance. It can be the lady going out buying a $500 or $600 pair of shoes and hiding it from their spouse. It could be your spouse being into the latest gadgets and he was like, well, I wanted the new iPhone or the new iPad, and he doesn't tell you about it, and he, goes spend, $1,000. Well, guess what? You're cheating. Yeah, that's financial infidelity. So today I wanted to present this subject because, believe it or not, 90% from current research shows that most divorces is due to finances. A lot of the times, a lot of people may not understand that they are cheating in the relationship. When it comes to money, they may see it more as, oh, I'm protecting myself. I don't know if this is going to work out. Whatever his bills is his bills, or whatever her bills are her bills. Well, from a marriage point of view, I've been married now a little over 12 years. And a lot of this, just comes from experience. Is the number one key to prevent any type of infidelity, whether it's marital or money, is communication. When you don't have communication in your relationship, you're already headed for disaster. Money is definitely a taboo subject that a lot of people don't like to discuss. And it's so crazy to me. People that I've spoken with in the past, one of the number one things they say is a lot of our arguments is money. So that lets you know, when you don't discuss money, it sets up the recipe for other things to happen. Because my take on it is, if you have something as simple as buying a pair of shoes, whether they're $50 or $300, you're more than likely going to probably hide something like, oh, well, so and so just sent me a text or a phone call and I didn't tell my spouse about it, right? So as you can see, infidelity can start off as something small, but actually grow into something a lot bigger in your relationship that you're not even aware of it going on. Um, so today I just want to touch bases on that and how to prevent that. As I said, first of all, you definitely want to make sure you're communicating. I don't care if it's $25, $50, $5,000. If money is leaving your home, I don't care if it's mama, daddy, brother, sister, whoever, your spouse has a right to know that. That's number one. Regardless of who the breadwinner is, you're now one in the marriage. So whatever affects one person affects you as well. Now, I know a lot of people may say like, before we got married, he didn't even tell me he had all of this debt, da 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 da. Well, one thing I would definitely recommend for people, and this is for my people that are in the engagement phase, before you get married, you need to sit down and make sure that you know each other's finances. I have seen many couples get married. They're 3 to 4 years in, and they're like, hey, well, I'm ready to buy a house. Well, guess what? Because they didn't discuss their finances early on before they said I do, comes to find out one may have over $300,000 worth of debt that you had no idea about, and the other one may have no debt at all. Well, it all goes back to communication. You have to communicate in order to grow in a relationship. And as I said before, you have to make sure, and regardless of how long you're dating, whether it's 6 months, 5 years, if you don't tell this up front, it can lead to disaster. And for over 50% of Americans today, it's leading to divorce. So like I said, communication is number one. You have to make sure you're communicating all of this. Even in the dating phase, you have to let people know up front what your financial goals are. Do you plan on having kids? I've seen couples where one may want a child, one may not want a child. Well, guess what? Having kids affects you financially greatly as well. So if you don't tend to plan for a lot of these things, it can put you in an even worse situation, just starting off in your marriage. So one thing we definitely want to make sure is that the conversation is always open when it comes to money. And like I said, even with you hiding those $50 pair of shoes, I know a lot of women that's listening in maybe saying, oh, it's just a $50 pair of shoes. Trust me, it's a lot. You have to dig a little deeper. You have to think of in terms of, if my spouse is not willing to tell me that I just bought a $50 pair of shoes, and not only did they not tell you, they hid it from you. That's a big deal, right? If you can't confide in your spouse, who can you confide in? When you get married, you become one, right? So if you're not able to just communicate to the other person, hey, I'm going to go out and get some clothes, some shoes, or this came up, I may need to, or I want to travel home to see the family, something like that. If you can't communicate that with your spouse, there's already a problem that you can't be upfront with them about that. Even in today's society, you see all the time, we are a consumer society. Spend, 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 spend. And that's one reason why I decided, you know what, instead of me doing these articles, I really want to reach people. I actually want to sit and talk to them and just kind of see where their mind is at, because when you want to make a change in life, it starts here. It starts mentally. When you have a mindset change, you have a habit change. So until you're able to turn on that light bulb in your head and be like, you know what? I'm in financial trouble. We may really need to look at getting our finances under control. Say you have, $10,000 worth of credit card debt, regardless of who ran it up. Because remember, when you're in a marriage, you're one, right? So regardless of who ran the credit up, it's now time to have a serious conversation and sit down with that person and be like, hey, regardless of what you did, we still have to fix this, because this is impacting us from, say, buying a new car, putting away money for a college fund, buying that new home. Maybe you just want to go on a vacation, do a second honeymoon. Money affects a lot of things in relationships. And I tell people this all the time. When you have discipline in your finances, I am telling you, it puts so much peace of mind in your relationship with others. Another thing I want to make a point on is, when it comes to financial infidelity, letting others borrow money. Now, a lot of people may be like, well, that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my brother, that's my sister. Yes, that's all great and fine, but I want to explain something to you. And this is actually a rule in our own home. We don't let people borrow money, period. No. If someone asks for money, our first question is, how much do you need? Because it is a need, obviously, if they're asking you for the money. And what is it for? 9 times out of 10, most people have a legitimate reason, right? So instead of me asking the question of when you're going to pay it back, that never comes up. The reason why is this. If you can't afford that person to borrow that money from you and you still continue your household expenses, you do not need to let people borrow money, period. Money kills relationships. I see it all the time. I don't care if it's $20 or $20,000. Do not let people borrow money. Your relationship is not worth it. If anything, you need to, sometimes, a lot of times, people just need to vent a little bit about what's going on. They may be stressed out. Maybe some medical stuff popped up. Who knows? That's life. Things happen. I've been through it. I'm pretty sure many of you that's listening in have been through it. That's just part of life. You're up today, something major happens, job loss, a new child has come along. It can be anything, military deployment, whatever. Everything you do in your life affects your money. So with that being said, as I go back to, make sure when you're lending, well, like I said, we don't let people borrow money. That's just a number one rule in our house. If we can't afford to give it to you, you don't get it. So it's either yes or no. There's no in between. So say if someone calls you and be like, hey, I need $150. Okay, I may not have the $150, but I may have $75. So I'll give them that $75. And guess what? That's the end of the conversation. It'll never be brought up again. I'll never throw it back in your face. We'll act like the transaction never happened. That's how you keep relationships. So I know a lot of people may be like, well, I did let so-and-so borrow, and we're talking big numbers here, say $5,000. Oh, well, so-and-so borrowed $5,000 from me and they never paid it back. As I go back to, the first question should be, first of all, did you discuss it with your spouse that you allow someone to borrow that kind of money? Because that's a lot of money. Secondly, if you can't afford to lose it, number one rule, if you can't afford to lose that money, meaning you can't maintain your household without that money, you should not be allowing any money going out of your household. Point blank, period. So a lot of people may be asking, well, what does this have to do with financial infidelity? I'm going to tell you why. We tend to have this thing, and everyone's guilty of it. Well, depending on the relationship, best friend, brother, sister, whoever, calls and asks for money. Oh, well, that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my brother, that's my sister. Well, guess what? When you get married, your spouse is number one priority, first of all. So it goes back to, if you're allowing money to leave the home and your spouse doesn't know about it, you've already cheated them out of something. And say your spouse looks up, you have a savings account and there's $2,000 gone. Your spouse is looking at you like, where did $2,000 go and why didn't I know about it? Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. What if we had a plan on, say, going on a vacation? We could have been putting that money back for investment opportunities. We could have been putting that money back for a down payment on a home. Regardless of what it's for, your spouse has a right to know. So today, I just want to leave you with a few tips on how to prevent financial infidelity. Number one, communication is key. You have to communicate with your spouse. Regardless of the relationship, you have to communicate. Number two, Do not, I repeat, do not have separate checking or savings accounts. That already opens a door for other infidelity. Yeah. Believe it or not, if you're willing to hide away from your spouse of a simple checking or savings account in your name, as a lot of women like to call mad money, yeah, not cool. Husbands as well, you should not have well, I'm a sneakerhead. I got $1,000 in there just to supply my shoe habit. No, not a good idea. So, number two, do not have separate accounts. It creates trust issues. And like I said, it goes back to communication. Number three, if you have been guilty of financial infidelity, regardless of the amount of money, I don't care if it's $5 that you hid, you still cheated by not telling that person of the $5. You have to be upfront with people when it comes to money. It keeps down a lot of, arguments. So, as I said, you want to make sure if you are guilty of financial infidelity, fix it. That's what they capitalization of FIXIT. Fix it. If you've been taking out student loans, you went and bought a brand new car and they thought it was used and they just put it in their name, fix it. Sit down with your spouse. Fix it. It's never too late. If you have breath in your body, fix it. You may be asking, well, how do I fix it? I'm going to tell you how. You need to sit down and have well, first of all, in our household, something we do, this is probably every couple of weeks, we actually sit down and discuss our finances. Yeah. Every couple of weeks, let me give you another timeline. You should never, finances should not come up just when your money is low. Right? That tells me that problem has been lingering and you just been brushing it under the rug. How do you prevent your bank account from getting low? You discuss it when you have money. When payday comes, or if you get a lawsuit settlement, you get a promotion at your job, your money should be discussed during that time. You do not wait until you're on zero and discuss money. Okay? That's a no-no. That's how you keep money in your pocket. So, as I said, our conversations are probably 3 to 4 times a month, literally. My husband, as many of you know, Jeremiah, this is Jay Owens on Facebook. He'll tell you we discuss money, if not weekly, probably sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. We talk about financial investment opportunities. We talk about investments. We talk about college funds for our girls. We talk about, hey, we want to go somewhere. How much do we want to save where it still doesn't impact our household expenses? Emergency fund. You have to discuss money to keep money. So we're going to go back to how do you prevent things like this from happening? Like I said, communication. You want to make sure once you find out infidelity has entered the home, it is not the end of the world. First of all, you want to make sure because if someone is open to come to you and tell you, hey, look, I screwed up. I've been hiding this from you. I don't care if it's $50 pair of shoes. You ran out the credit card. Give them credit for even coming to you, because a lot of times people go 10, 15 years in a relationship or marriage and they have no clue how much debt they're in. I've heard stories all the time, trust me, and it's scary that people don't know this. You're with someone every day and you don't know you have $5,000 worth of credit debt. That's scary. So how do you fix it? Well, you pull each other's credit reports. You do that. You do an assessment. You literally just look at all their debts. I don't care if it's $10,000 or $100,000. Hey, you're in it. You're together. You're one. We got to fix it. Because guess what? Whatever's affecting that person on their credit, if you're married, whether you want to accept it or not, it affects you now. Because, I mean, you're together. If you want to buy a house, I know for the state of Texas, it's automatically community property. So guess what? If you're married and your spouse can't get on a mortgage loan because you have bad credit, technically you got bad credit. So that's why I said you have to fix it together. It's not a one-person show. You have to fix it together. So like I said, the way to do that, you pull each other's credit. You look at the credit, regardless of how you're feeling. Hey, it's here. You got to deal with it. You know, life goes on. Now, for some may be like, oh my God, I can't believe he did this to me. He's ran up, $100,000 worth of credit card debt. Or he has $100,000 worth of, credit cards and student loans and car loans and da-da-da-da-da with high interest. Well, next step number 2. You now know your debt. You now know your income. You need to find a way to fix it. How do you do that? You look at your income versus expenses. Now, this is the part where a lot of people, while most people have divorces, a lot of them just get this mindset of, hey, you know what? I'm not finna help somebody pay off $100,000 worth of debt. That's their debt. I'm walking away. I'm gonna have a clean slate. Hey, if that's your decision, it's not my life, If that's what you're at peace with, go right ahead, But I'm a type person of, when I say I do, and the vows of for better or worse, this is the worst part. So a lot of people get into marriages and when the better is over, they're done. Well, guess what? You said for worse and sickness too. So, hey, this is part of marriage. You have up and downs. That you made a vow to that. You made a vow to God. So you have to keep that in mind when you're in the worst part of it, okay? So for the ones, which I recommend, for those to stick it out, you need to sit down, make a list. Okay, this is our debt. This is our income. Now, this is where sacrifice mode comes in. You may have to get rid of that brand new 2016 Jag. You may have to downsize your home. You may not be able to buy a home for another 3 to 4 years until you get your money under control. You may have to get rid of cable to, pay off, use that $100 to $200 a month to pay off credit card debt. Okay. So once you get into fixed mode, I always say for fixed mode, once you go through the discipline of digging yourself out of it, trust me, you will have a new humbling experience of dealing with money. Now, the reason why I can speak on this is because my husband and I have been through the fire of, communicating and getting our finances on track. And because we were dedicated as husband and wife to dig ourselves out of it, guess what? We didn't go back. I don't care if it's $50. We literally set a budget for everything now. As you guys know, it's back to school season. We were like, this is the budget for back to school. This includes backpacks, shoes, clothes, whatever. This is our back to school budget. No ifs or buts, ifs or buts about it, right? So that was our back to school budget, and we didn't flounder from it either. As many of you know, we went on vacation a couple of months ago to Aruba. Guess what? We saved up and paid cash for that. Yep, cash. Credit card debt, zero, zero. So I try to speak to people on a personal level. As you guys know, my business, Genesis Enterprises, I offer financial management counseling. And the reason why I say counseling is because I'm not necessarily for that service I'm sorry. I'm not offering that service to just fix your credit. It's a whole lot more, it's a lot deeper than that for me. I want to make sure I educate and tell people as much as I can how to prevent what my husband and I went through when it comes to fixing your finances. Because I'm telling you, when you have your finances in order, when you have financial discipline, I'm telling you, it makes other aspects of your life so much easier. Communication, spiritual discipline, everything. I'm telling you. And this is probably one reason why God tells us that as far as, having stewardship, that's biblical, people. He says, "Oh, no man anything." There's a reason why he tells us that. The reason why he tells you to owe no man anything is because you literally become a slave to the creditor. You literally do. If you, and that's why I go back to my point of do not let family members borrow money, because at that point they literally have become a slave to you. I don't want my brother and sister or parents or whoever to be a slave to me for $50. It's not worth it. I would rather give it to them, consider it a financial blessing, and move on. Regardless if I get it back tenfold or not. I just have a giving heart, as many of you guys know me, over the years. Me and my husband are just giving people. So we would rather consider it a financial blessing as opposed to a financial burden, because trust me, there is a difference. Hold on. I need to get a little sip. So with that being said, these are going to be my new financial video blogs. I decided to do something a little bit more personal with the people. Now, for those that are watching, do you have any questions for me in regards to financial infidelity? I will be on here for at least another 5 minutes. For those that have any questions, you are welcome to ask me right now while you have me live. So I'll be on here for the next few minutes. If you got any questions, let me know. And I guess I'll give some shout outs to some viewers. Tez and Sheena. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hi, Trisha. Hi, Mark. Oh my God, you are so silly. So for those that are tuning in, do you anyone have any financial questions you want to ask me in regards to financial infidelity? Are you a victim of financial infidelity? What was your emotions when you found out that your spouse or close one, cheated on you with finances? How did you feel about that? Hi, baby. Okay, people, I'm going to be live just another 5 minutes and then We're going to close it out. Live Q&A right now. When you talk, you got to make sure you drink the water. And also, for those that didn't know, you can go over and like my business page. I'll be posting this to that page as well, for feedback. And of course, like I said, I'll try to, next time I'll definitely give you guys a better heads up, at least a week out, so you guys are able to tune in, for the live Q&A, because I'm telling you, finance is a huge topic, for most, families. And it's a taboo subject that a lot of people just don't like to talk about. But I'm one of those people. I don't want to hide, from talking about money. My business is money. It is finance. My Facebook page is Genesis Enterprises, and I offer accounting services, which include bookkeeping for my small business owners, payroll. I also prepare taxes, and I also offer financial consulting. And that's why I said my financial management counseling is more for educating as opposed to just fixing your credit. I actually give you the proper tools and knowledge and, just from my own experience on how to prevent from getting bad credit or how to dig yourself out of it. Okay. So if anyone has any questions on today's subject, financial infidelity, cheating with money is today's topic. Let me know what your questions are. We got a rainy Friday today. I guess we're getting a lot of the rain from, oh yeah, for those in Louisiana, we're definitely praying for you guys. We've been seeing the coverage and everything on TV. You guys are definitely in our prayers. Um, so we love you guys, and hopefully this will get better before it gets worse. Okay, looks like I don't have any questions. So no questions on financial infidelity? Well, for those just tuning in, I'll just give you a recap of what I've discussed. Today's topic was financial infidelity. As I said, I'll continue to do video, live blogs to get, Q&A and kind of get feedback from my audience to see what are your thoughts on different financial topics. Today was financial infidelity, cheating with money. So, like I said, just to go over some pointers. Number one, communication. Number two, if you do find yourself in this situation, how do you fix it? And, I'm sorry. Number two was do not have separate accounts. Especially if you're married, you definitely don't need separate accounts because that opens the door to a lot of other trust issues in the relationship. Number three is if you do find yourself where you have been cheated on in regards to finances, talk about it, work it out. And if you need help with that, as I said, I offer financial management counseling through my business, Genesis Enterprises. you're welcome to go over. I'm on Facebook. My website is Genesis, GENASIS, enterprises.com. You're also welcome to check out my website. And I guess that's all for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. As I said, next time I'll definitely give you guys more of a notice so we can, get some feedback going so I can actually have a live Q&A session with everyone. And love you guys. And until next time, have a blessed Friday. Bye.